Welcome back to the IBSP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Canelo Alvarez is a coward if he fights Chris Eubank Jr. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And according to Timothy Bradley, and then this is a known hater of Canelo Alvarez, he states that if Canelo fights Chris Eubank Jr. or Edgar Berlanga, bro, come on, man. As great as Mayweather was and what he did as Pretty Boy leading up to the end of his career, everybody only looks at that, how he operated as a businessman. This is the beginning for Canelo Alvarez. We're not getting the best possible fights out there. We want to see the David Benavidez fight. And with this point, I agree with Tim Bradley. We do want to see the Benavidez fight. And we know that Benavidez has to activate as mandatory, but nobody wants to see Chris Eubank Jr. or Edgar Berlanga. Both of those are cherry picks, and Canelo can't justify fighting those garbage-ass fighters. Timothy Bradley also goes on to say, we can't say it won't tarnish your legacy. Now, this is the problem that I have with Tim Bradley. Canelo Alvarez's legacy will not be tarnished by fighting either one of those guys. Yes, they're cherry picks. Yes, they're trash fights. But you got to see who Canelo Alvarez is. Canelo Alvarez is a four-weight world champion, undisputed at 168, unified the entire division in less than a year. You can't ever say or bring in his legacy into a conversation like this. That don't make any sense. His legacy's set. He's a certified Hall of Famer. That will not change no matter who he fights from this point on. Canelo Alvarez's legacy is set. You can't change anything about it. The man is a top-tier first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, the problem that I do have with Canelo Alvarez, if he fights a Chris Eubank, if he fights an Edgar Berlanga, if he fights those garbage-ass cherry picks, it doesn't mess with his legacy, but it shows you the type of fighter he is at the end of his career. It shows you that he's no different than a Floyd Mayweather looking to cherry pick at the end of his career, and we have to keep the same energy with Canelo. As great as Canelo is, as fearless as he proved, this would mean he's no longer free smoke. Now, the hope is Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight these garbage fights. The hope is Canelo Alvarez fights David Benavidez. And if Canelo doesn't want to fight Benavidez, the hope is David Benavidez activates his mandatory. We need both of these guys to do their part in making this fight happen, because nobody wants to pay $100 for a cherry pick.